The New York Jets came into the season with a lot of hope and promise of being a Super Bowl contender, but ended up underachieving mainly because of the loss of Aaron Rodgers. And since the Jets lost Aaron Rodgers, the team has been a disaster. But we now know what the extent of the disaster looked like with the Jets organization. On January 31st, 2024, The Athletic's Zach Rosenblatt and Diana Russini released an article detailing the systematic issues inside the New York Jets. And let me tell you, this thing was brutal. The article would be a report of information they compiled from 30 people inside the Jets organization and around the team. And it really all starts with Aaron Rodgers. Before his time on the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers' final season on the Green Bay Packers looked like it was coming to an end pretty fast. The team was ready to move on with Jordan Love after all the drama with Rodgers' unwillingness to help the young players and the back and forths on whether he's going to continue to play or retire or just the natural Aaron Rodgers shenanigans. As we all know, he ultimately decides to come back and play.
Oh, Laura, we have breaking news right now. Breaking news. Aaron Rodgers officially is being traded to the New York Jets. And it just came down moments ago in a trade involving 6 picks. Aaron Rodgers is going to the New York Jets. It's official. It is happening. Finally, after all this time, we've been waiting for this trade to happen, and now it is.
And as any fan base who sat through a year of Zach Wilson and Mike White would feel, that Jets fans would be ecstatic for the trade, as they finally had a Hall of Famer caliber quarterback to match with their possible Super Bowl contending roster. But this is where the warning signs would show up. In that article detailed by The Athletic, when Rodgers arrived to the Jets, reportedly Jets owner Woody Johnson and a lot of people in the organization were starstruck. When watching the show, like Hard Knocks, it was clear to see Aaron Rodgers was the alpha male in the locker room and not Robert Saleh. One GM would even tell The Athletic Rodgers is the GM of the team now. And if you notice, all the moves that happened after Aaron Rodgers got there, it was pretty clear that he was actually running the team. And it was pretty clear before Rodgers got there. The Jets needed a lot more options and help at places like the offensive line. But no, they opted to go out and get Aaron's friends, like wide receiver Allen Lazard, who was known for being a poor route runner and had problems with dropping the ball. That guy received a 4-year, $44 million contract from the Jets. And another guy, Randall Cobb, who was a great player, but it's obvious he was very over the hill when it just comes to his time being in the NFL. He was also signed by the Jets. Then the Jets would sign Dalvin Cook, Tim Boyle, and Billy Turner at Aaron Rodgers' request. And if you notice, all of these pieces that were signed because of Aaron Rodgers didn't help the Jets at all this season. In fact, a lot of them might even been a negative. One of the biggest mistakes the Jets made, based on what this article has stated, is hiring Rodgers' longtime friend and offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. This article was extremely damaging for Hackett, who people have already questioned if he was only successful because of Aaron Rodgers. An anonymous coach would say he'd never seen a team watch less tape in training camp than the Jets did with Hackett. Other coaches and players said that Hackett lacked attention to detail, citing Hackett didn't meet much with the offensive staff until last minute. And if you're watching closely enough, you would notice that the Jets players would be very frustrated sporadically throughout the season.
How disappointing, especially the way you guys played in the second half.
Oh, it's very disappointing. Yeah, it's very disappointing, man. Practice all week, practice your whole life, and you go out there and play like this. It's disappointing. So we gotta get to the drawing board, figure it out.
And their best receiver, Garrett Wilson, would also state after the season, what happened this season cannot happen again. It's got to be better. We got to make adjustments in game. We got to do things to counter what we're getting and be able to put points on the board, because honestly, in 2 years I've been here, it's been tough. It's been a tough going. Football hasn't been this hard as far as offense for me. I watch it on the sidelines, and it doesn't look that hard for the other team. And the article stated throughout the camp, Hackett would just state that's what Aaron Rodgers wants and would allow Aaron Rodgers to do whatever he wants, basically, and call the plays during training camp. And I'm sure this is not a shock to you guys. Aaron Rodgers goes down week 1 with an injury. And following that injury, when you have someone that isn't Aaron Rodgers, wouldn't you expect that they would, change the offense to be around that person? Well, they didn't. In fact, Hackett reportedly never adjusted and continued to try to play the offense as if Aaron Rodgers was in there. This led to the Jets' offensive woes and their league-leading pre-snap penalties. This article also put Jets head coach Robert Saleh in a bad light as well. After the Aaron Rodgers injury, people around the team got the feeling that Saleh took a woe-is-me mentality. He had done research that showed many successful coaches, including Bill Belichick, John Harbaugh, Kyle Shanahan, all had losing seasons when they lost their top-tier quarterback. And he would frequently use the excuse, what do you expect? We lost Aaron Rodgers, when speaking to Woody Johnson about his job security and negative press coverage. And having a losing mentality when it comes to your head coach is a terrible look because it trickles down to everyone. It makes it tough to do anything, including win. And reportedly, the negative coverage really ticked off Saleh. And one particular statement that really upset him was how his team got more negative coverage than the neighboring team, being the New York Giants. But nothing made Saleh upset like the Zach Wilson leaks. Throughout the season, Robert Saleh backed Zach Wilson in front of the media. But behind closed doors, Saleh blamed Zach, the offensive line, and their receivers for their offensive struggles. Even telling people getting to 8 wins with Wilson at quarterback would be a miracle. And during the Jets' loss to the Bills in Week 11, Wilson would be benched, and after the game, Robert Saleh announced Wilson would be benched moving forward and Tim Boyle would be the starting quarterback. And according to the article, Saleh told Zach that he'd be benched for the rest of the season and he'd be traded in the offseason. And this decision will only last a couple of weeks because Tim Boyle couldn't do it, so they had to bring Zach Wilson back into the game. But here's where the issue lies. Because of what he was told by Saleh and not wanting to be beat up behind the Jets' very bad offensive line, Zach Wilson did not want to return to the lineup. And this information was leaked to The Athletic as well. And this is where things get out of control. Saleh was upset about this leak in particular, causing him to have a meeting with his staff where multiple sources confirmed Saleh said if the leaker came forward, they wouldn't be in trouble, while threatening to take their cell phones. Another interesting piece of the story from The Athletic is that Rodgers had been lying about his relationship with Wilson. When Wilson refused to play, the Jets sent in Rodgers to speak with Wilson, but he was reluctant to listen to Rodgers as the two had hardly communicated since Aaron Rodgers' injury. And then ultimately, Zach Wilson wanted to play once it was leaked because it was going to hurt his image. As you can tell, there is an absolute laundry list of issues with the New York Jets. That's it, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, obviously subscribe, and most importantly, if you like this video, share it to a family or friend member, because if you like it, odds are they will too. And until the next video, talk to you guys soon.